In this video, I'm going to show you how to strum without using a pick. We're going to look at a few different methods: playing with the finger, playing with the thumb, playing with both together, and then a little bonus strum at the end as well. What you should do in this video is use it as a chance to analyze the arm, wrist, and finger movements, and then experiment and ultimately find what works for you. So, without further ado, for your benefit, let's get zoomed in. So I'm going to start with how I strum with the index finger. This is my own personal favorite way of strumming without a pick. This is the one that I've grown most comfortable with. I'm going to be using an E minor chord, and I'll be using the down, down, up, down, up strumming pattern throughout this video. So I want you to pay attention to my wrist movement, my arm movement, and the independent finger movement as well. So check this out. Down, down, up, down, up, down, down, up, down, up, down, down, up, down, up. So I've got a gentle rotation of the wrist going on. There's a little bit of up and down movement of the arm as well at the same time. And then, independent of those two things, I've got the finger going up and down as well. And it's joining all of those things together that enables me to get a decent sound from just using the index finger. And the great thing about using the index finger and not using a pick is that if you're at a gig and you drop your pick, you've got something to fall back on, right? So this is really handy for that reason. Now, what happens if I don't move my arm and I just choose to move my finger? Well, if I'm at this angle here that I'm currently at, it's going to be very difficult for me to catch all the strings with this finger. Okay, it's a little bit uneven, a bit weird. What tends to happen is if I'm just using the finger, I kind of straighten up a little bit like this. And I've got this gentle bobbing motion of the arm combined with the finger. So there's a difference between this angle and this angle. This one uses bobbing motion of the arm. There's a bit of shoulder movement going on as well. And this is more of a wrist twist. So you're going to have to experiment and find something that's comfortable for you, but just by knowing all of the different components of strumming with the finger and all the things that are going on, it'll hopefully bring your awareness to some things that you weren't aware of before. Another important point about this is that whenever you're doing the down strum, you're using the nail, okay? You're using this nail here, and that creates a very bright sound. Whereas when you're doing the up strum, you're using the flesh, which is a very dull sound, and that's another reason that I favour this one, because generally speaking, you want your downstrokes to be brighter, or should I say it's more beneficial if the downstrokes are naturally brighter, because that takes advantage of the way rhythm naturally works. Next up, we're going to get a look at strumming with the thumb. Let's get a look at what strumming with the thumb actually looks like. Again, paying attention to the arm, wrist, and finger motions as I do this. Down, down, up, down, up, down, down, up, down, up, down, down, up, down, up. So you'll probably notice that there's very little movement in the wrist here. There's actually quite a bit of movement in the arm and quite a bit of movement in the thumb. And it's combining those that enables me to strum comfortably with my thumb. Now, on the downstrokes, you'll notice that they sound quite dull, and you might notice some of the upstrokes sound a little brighter. And the reason for that is because on the downstrokes, if you remember the index finger part of this video, well, I'm catching the flesh on the downstroke this time. That means it's going to sound much duller. And then on the upstroke, I'm catching the nail. And as I'm doing that upstroke as well, I tend to notice that sometimes I get a little bit of a flick in the wrist, just a tiny flick. Again, I'm not sure why that occurs, but that just feels very, very natural to me. So now we've looked at strumming with the index, strumming with the thumb, but we can also strum with them both together. And there's a couple of things that you can do when you let these digits join forces. There's a couple of things we can do when combining the thumb and the index finger together. The first one is what I just exemplified there, is where you can take a chord and you can pluck the bass note of the chord with the thumb, and then you can pluck the rest of the chord with the index finger. And that's just simply a down pluck with the thumb and then a down strum with the finger using the nail. But then you might want to do a down pluck with the thumb followed by a down up with the nail like this. So that's something nice that you can try. Another way is, imagine you've got your guitar pick in your hand, for those of you that play with a pick. If you don't, just look at my hand on the screen now. Thumb comes to the top of the tip of the index finger. And then what you're going to do is use the nail of the index finger there to strum. Now you might notice that that nail is very prone to catching on the string, especially like this. I'm not quite sure why that is exactly, but for me the nail feels like it's catching on the string, or it can easily catch on the string. But what's great about this is that you can get a little bit more force behind your chords because you've got the thumb and the index finger joined together. If I just try and get force without the thumb, it doesn't really work. I can't really throw my wrist into the chord. And it's especially useful when it comes to palm muted chords for this kind of stuff. I can really kind of throw my wrist into it. Last of all, we've got a bonus strum. This one is something that I just think looks kind of cool. It is kind of similar to strumming with the first finger. You're going to use these two digits here, but nonetheless, something worth trying. And it looks like this. Now you'll notice that at the start of the video, we were using the index finger with the bobbing motion of the arm. Well, I'm doing the same thing, but instead I'm using the two middle fingers as well. Or I'm using the two middle fingers instead of the index finger. My parting words of wisdom for this video, when it comes to strumming, or to be honest, just about anything on the guitar, just pick one, maybe two, and stick with it for a prolonged period of time. What I'm hoping by creating this video is that you'll be able to see clearly which one it is that you naturally fall into, and then you can start working on that particular one, whilst also being aware of the other different ways that people do things, because people do generally tend to stumble into different ways of doing things. Even when they're playing with a pick, there'll be different ways of doing things there too. So if you have got any value from this video, hit that thumbs up button to tell the YouTube algorithm to like me. And if you want to see more videos like this, hit the subscribe button too, and I'll see you here in another couple of videos next week. Thanks.